They say the mate bond is sacred, a pull so powerful it defies logic, transcends time, and binds two souls for eternity. I used to believe that. I used to believe in a lot of things before that night. Before I woke up in silk sheets that weren't mine, in a room that smelled of pine and midnight storms, with marks on my skin that burned like brands and an emptiness in my chest where something vital had been ripped away. Before I stumbled home at dawn, my wolf howling inside me with a grief I couldn't name, only to find the letter waiting on my bed. The wedding has been moved up 1 month. Alpha King's orders. I'm Layla, daughter of the village healer, a low-level Omega who's never been worth noticing. And somehow, impossibly, I'm betrothed to Aaron Thornridge, the Alpha King's last living son. Everyone whispers about Aaron. How he's cruel. How he's weak. How he's nothing like his father, the sovereign of shadows, Alpha King Dale Thornridge, the most feared wolf in the entire kingdom. The man who ended the great pack wars single-handedly. The king who shows no mercy, takes no prisoners, and trusts absolutely no one. The man whose scent I can still taste on my tongue. The man whose child is growing inside me. I didn't know it was him that night. I swear I didn't know. But my wolf knew. She knew, and she kept it from me, and now we're both paying the price, because the mate bond doesn't care about engagements, or family ties, or the fact that in 1 month, I'm supposed to marry his son. The sovereign of shadows is coming home. And I'm running out of time to figure out how to survive what comes next. Chapter 1, The Healer's Daughter. The wolfsbane was supposed to bloom blue under the full moon, but mine kept turning black, and Mother said that meant death was coming. I crushed the petals between my fingers, watching the dark juice stain my skin as the evening sun cast long shadows across our cottage garden. The scent was bitter, clinging to the back of my throat, nothing like the pine and storm scent that had haunted me for 3 weeks now. 3 weeks since that night. 3 weeks since I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. Layla. Mother's voice cut through my thoughts, sharp with concern. You're doing it again. I blinked, realizing I'd been standing frozen, staring at nothing. Sorry, I was just. You've been just 4 weeks now. She emerged from the cottage, wiping her hands on her apron, her graying hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her eyes, the same green as mine, studied me with the intensity she usually reserved for diagnosing the sick. Ever since the festival. My stomach twisted. The festival. The night everything changed. I'm fine, Mother. You're pale. You barely eat. And you keep touching your stomach like. She trailed off, and I saw the exact moment realization dawned in her eyes. Her face went white. Layla. No. Tell me you didn't. I couldn't meet her gaze. My hand had unconsciously moved to my abdomen again, protecting the secret I'd only confirmed yesterday with one of her own pregnancy tonics. Positive. Undeniably, impossibly positive. It was one mistake, I whispered. One night. I don't even remember. You don't remember? Her voice rose, panic bleeding through. You don't remember who you bedded, and now you're carrying his child, and in 3 weeks you're supposed to marry Aaron Thornridge? The name landed like a stone in water, sending ripples of dread through me. Aaron. My betrothed. The man I'd agreed to marry to save my family from debt, to give my mother security in her old age, to finally be something more than just the healer's daughter. He can never know, I said firmly. I'll tell him the child is his. After the wedding, I'll lie to an alpha? Mother grabbed my shoulders, her fingers digging in. Layla, you can't lie to a wolf about paternity. The scent, the bond, he'll know the moment he touches you. And Aaron. She shuddered. Aaron isn't kind to those who deceive him. I knew that. Everyone knew that. Aaron Thornridge was paranoid, vicious when threatened, quick to lash out at anyone he perceived as weaker. Which was everyone, because despite being the Alpha King's son, Aaron himself was barely stronger than a beta. Then what do I do? The words came out broken, desperate. Before Mother could answer, a howl split the evening air, long, low, and commanding. The kind of howl that made every wolf in the village stop what they were doing and turn toward the pack house on the hill. An alpha's summons. But not just any alpha. My wolf stirred for the first time in weeks, whimpering and clawing at my consciousness with desperate urgency. She'd been silent since that night, withdrawn into some deep part of me I couldn't reach. Now she was awake, and she was terrified. Mother's face had gone ashen. That's not Aaron's howl. I knew. Every wolf in the kingdom would know that sound. The Sovereign of Shadows had come home. Chapter 2, The Sovereign Returns. The pack house was chaos when we arrived. Wolves crowded the main hall, some in human form, others shifting nervously between states. The air was thick with tension and the competing sense of fear and excitement. Everyone was talking at once, speculation flying like autumn leaves in a storm. Heard he executed an entire pack up north. Looking for someone, they say. The prophecy, it has to be about the prophecy. I pressed myself against the back wall, trying to stay unnoticed. Mother had insisted on coming with me, her healing knowledge giving her access where my Omega status would have barred me. Her hand found mine and squeezed. Stay close, she murmured. And whatever you do, don't look him in the eye. Dale Thornridge can see through lies like glass. My heart hammered against my ribs. I didn't want to be here. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to hide, to put as much distance between myself and whatever was about to happen. But ignoring an alpha's summons was tantamount to treason, and with Aaron as my betrothed, my absence would be noted. The massive oak doors at the front of the hall swung open. Silence fell like a guillotine blade. He walked in alone, and the entire room seemed to shrink around him. Alpha King Dale Thornridge was not what I expected. I'd heard the stories, the Sovereign of Shadows, the Mad King of the North, the wolf who'd killed his way to the throne and held it for 30 years through sheer ruthless calculation. I'd expected a monster. Someone ancient and cruel, with madness in his eyes. Instead, I saw a man in his prime, perhaps mid-40s, moving with the fluid grace of a predator who'd never known defeat. He was tall, taller than most alphas, with broad shoulders and a presence that commanded attention without effort. His hair was dark with threads of silver at the temples, and his face was all sharp angles and hard lines, handsome in the way a blade is handsome, beautiful and dangerous. But it was his eyes that stopped my breath. Storm gray, cold as winter steel, and currently scanning the crowd with the methodical precision of a general surveying his troops. Those eyes had seen me naked. Had looked down at me with something that might have been tenderness in the darkness of that room. Oh gods! Oh gods, what had I done? My wolf whimpered and pushed forward, trying to force me to step into his line of sight, to make him see us, to complete what we'd started. I shoved her down brutally, gripping Mother's hand so hard my knuckles went white. He can't know. He can't know it was me. I'm sure you're all wondering why I've returned. His voice rolled through the hall like thunder, deep and commanding. No one dared speak. I'll be direct. I'm dying. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone near the front actually whimpered. Dale's expression didn't change. I have perhaps 6 months. A year if I'm fortunate. The healers have done what they can, but some poisons are beyond even the best medicine. Poison. Someone had poisoned the Sovereign of Shadows. The implications sent the room into barely controlled panic. Therefore, he continued, his voice cutting through the noise, I've moved up Aaron's wedding. He will marry in 3 weeks' time, and I will witness my son secure his future before I leave this world. His gaze swept the room again, and for one terrifying second, it paused on me. Those storm-gray eyes locked with mine across the distance, and everything else ceased to exist. The mate bond slammed into me like a physical blow, recognition, hunger, possession, and something else, something that felt like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. My wolf howled in triumph and grief, and I felt the exact moment he recognized me too. His nostrils flared. His entire body went rigid. Then his expression closed like a door slamming shut, cold and unreadable, and he looked away as if I were nothing. As if I were no one. That is all, he said. Dismissed. The crowd began to disperse, but I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't process what had just happened. He knew. The Sovereign of Shadows knew exactly who I was. And he'd looked away. Chapter 3, The Summons. I made it halfway home before the guard found me. Layla, daughter of Mara? He was young, a beta from the palace guard, and he looked uncomfortable with his task. Alpha King Dale requests your presence. Immediately. Mother's grip on my arm tightened. On what grounds? My daughter is betrothed to his son. Any meeting should include. The Alpha King doesn't explain his summons. The guard's voice was apologetic but firm. Please. I'd rather not have to compel you. My wolf was doing backflips inside me, desperate and eager. I forced my voice steady. It's fine, Mother. I'll go. Layla. I'll be fine, I lied. The walk to the pack house felt like a death march. Every step took me closer to the man who could destroy everything with a single word. My mind raced through possibilities. What would I say? Should I deny it? Confess? Beg for mercy? The guard led me past the main hall, up a winding staircase I'd never been allowed to climb, to a corridor lined with portraits of previous Alpha Kings. Their painted eyes seemed to judge me as I passed. We stopped at a heavy wooden door. The guard knocked once, received a grunt of acknowledgement, and opened it just enough for me to slip through. Then he closed it behind me, and I was alone with the Sovereign of Shadows. The room was clearly an office, massive desk, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a fireplace crackling with fresh logs. Dale stood with his back to me, staring out a window that overlooked the entire village. He'd removed his formal jacket, and in just his white shirt, he looked somehow more dangerous. More real. Do you know why you're here? His voice was quiet, but it filled the entire space. I swallowed hard. No, Alpha King. Don't lie to me. He turned, and those storm-gray eyes pinned me in place. You felt it. The moment our eyes met, you felt it. The same thing I felt. My knees wanted to buckle. I don't know what you... The mate bond. The words were harsh, angry. 3 weeks ago, I attended a festival undercover, wanting to see my people without the ceremony and pretense. I met a woman in a tavern. We talked. We laughed. His jaw clenched. We did more than talk. Heat flooded my face. That was you? You didn't know? Something flickered in his expression, surprise, maybe, or suspicion. It was dark. I'd had wine. You never told me your name, and I never saw your face clearly. The memory was fuzzy, dreamlike, as if it had happened to someone else. I woke up alone. He studied me for a long moment, and I had the unnerving feeling he was cataloging every micro-expression, every heartbeat, measuring my honesty against some internal scale only he understood. You're carrying my child. It wasn't a question. My hand moved instinctively to my stomach before I could stop it. How did you? I consented on you. My bloodline. He moved closer, and my wolf preened at his proximity even as my human mind screamed danger. That child is mine. The only true heir I'll ever have. What about Aaron? The question escaped before I could stop it. Dale's expression turned to granite. Aaron is not my son. The world tilted sideways. Chapter 4, Bloodlines and Lies. I must have stumbled, because suddenly Dale's hand was on my elbow, steadying me. The touch sent electricity racing up my arm, the mate bonds singing with desperate joy. He released me immediately, as if burned, and stepped back. Sit. He gestured to a leather chair near the fireplace. It wasn't a request. I sat, my mind reeling. Aaron isn't your son? But everyone knows. Everyone knows what I've allowed them to know. Dale moved to a cabinet, poured 2 glasses of amber liquid, and handed me one. Drink. You look like you're about to faint, and I need you coherent. The whiskey burned going down, but it helped. A little. Dale settled into the chair opposite me, close enough that I could see the silver threading through his dark hair, the faint scars on his knuckles that spoke of violence survived. My wife, Catherine, had an affair. His voice was matter-of-fact, but something cold flickered behind his eyes. I discovered it when Aaron was 5 years old. Confirmed it with blood magic, he carries none of my lineage. Why didn't you? I stopped myself. Why didn't you kill them both? That's what alphas did to unfaithful mates. Everyone knew that. Because I loved her. The admission seemed to cost him something. And because the boy was innocent of his mother's sins. I raised him as my own, gave him the Thornridge name, prepared him to lead. His lips twisted. Clearly, I failed. Aaron is weak, paranoid, cruel to those beneath him because he knows, deep down, that he doesn't truly belong. He knows. Horror washed over me. About his father? He suspects. Catherine died before she could tell him the truth, but he's always known something was wrong. That I looked at him differently. That the pack never fully accepted him. Dale's gaze fixed on me with uncomfortable intensity. And now, you're about to marry him while carrying my actual heir. I felt sick. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know any of this. I believe you. He sipped his whiskey. But it changes nothing. The wedding has been announced. The political alliances have been made. If you suddenly refuse to marry Aaron, questions will be asked. Enemies will sense weakness. Then what do you want from me? I want you to go through with the wedding. I stared at him. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, and for a moment I saw past the sovereign of shadows to the calculating strategist beneath. You'll marry Aaron. You'll play the dutiful wife. And when the child is born, I'll claim it as my grandchild, Aaron's son or daughter. No one will question it. That's insane. I was on my feet before I realized I'd moved. You want me to live a lie? To let Aaron think the child is his? Aaron won't care as long as it secures his position. Dale's voice was hard. And you'll be protected. As my son's wife, as the mother of the next heir, you'll have everything you need. Except my mate. The words escaped before I could stop them, raw and honest. Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. The mate bond is a complication we'll both have to endure. I'm dying, Layla. In 6 months, perhaps a year, I'll be gone. The bond will break naturally. But even as he said it, I felt the lie. Not in his words, but in the bond itself, a wrongness, a dissonance that made my wolf whine in distress. He wasn't dying. Not really. But he wanted everyone to believe he was. The question was, why? Chapter 5, The First Crack. You're lying. The words left my mouth before my brain could stop them. Dale went very, very still. Excuse me? My wolf was screaming at me to submit, to bow my head, to apologize to the alpha. But something in me, maybe the mate bond, maybe just desperation, pushed me forward. You're not dying. I held his gaze even though everything in me wanted to look away. I don't know how I know, but I can feel it. Through the bond. You're lying about being poisoned. For 5 seconds, he said nothing. Then, slowly, deliberately, he smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. You're more perceptive than I anticipated. He stood, moving toward me with predatory grace. Or perhaps the mate bond is stronger than I calculated. Either way, you're right. I'm not dying. Relief and terror warred inside me. Then why? Because someone wants me dead. He circled me slowly, and I had to fight not to turn and keep him in sight. Someone close to me. Close enough to attempt poison, though they failed. Close enough to know my movements, my habits, my vulnerabilities. You faked your own terminal illness to draw them out. To make them confident. Careless. He stopped behind me, and I felt his breath on my neck. A dying king is a weak king. They'll make their move soon, and when they do, I'll be ready. What does this have to do with me? With the wedding? Everything. His hand came to rest on my shoulder, barely touching, and the mate bond roared to life between us. The prophecy that's been circulating through the underground packs, do you know it? I shook my head. The sovereign's true mate will bear a child that will either save or destroy the pack. His voice was low, dangerous. I've been searching for her for months. My true mate. And fate, it seems, delivered her directly into my son's bed. The pieces clicked together with horrible clarity. You think someone arranged that night? That it wasn't an accident? I think someone with knowledge of prophecies and mate bonds orchestrated our meeting, hoping to create chaos. He moved around to face me again. What I can't determine is whether you're a pawn or a player. Anger flared hot in my chest. I'm the healer's daughter. An Omega. I have no power, no influence, no reason to be involved in whatever political games you're playing. Everyone has a reason. Everyone wants something. His eyes searched mine. What do you want, Layla? The honest answer shocked me. I want my child to be safe. I want to survive this. And I want... What? I want to understand why the mate bond is pulling me toward you when everything logical says I should run as far away as possible. Something in his expression shifted, softened, just for a moment. The mate bond doesn't care about logic. It doesn't care about politics, or family complications, or the fact that I'm twice your age and 1,000 times more dangerous than you should ever be involved with. Then what does it care about? Survival. Completion. Destiny. He reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, and the touch sent shivers down my spine. And right now, it's telling me that you and that child are the most important things in my world, and I would burn the entire kingdom to ash before I let anyone harm either of you. The declaration should have terrified me. Instead, my wolf practically purred. But you'll still make me marry Aaron. The softness vanished. Yes. Because keeping you close to me would paint a target on your back. Because the moment my enemies know you're my true mate, they'll use you against me. And because, he stopped, jaw tight. Because what? Because I don't trust myself around you. The admission was harsh. The mate bond is already affecting my judgment. I look at you and want to claim you, consequences be damned. That kind of weakness gets people killed. A knock at the door shattered the tension. Father? Aaron's voice, sharp with suspicion. I heard you summoned the Omega. What business do you have with my betrothed? Dale's expression went cold and blank in an instant, every trace of vulnerability erased. Enter. The door opened, and Aaron stalked in. He was handsome in a soft way, with his mother's features and none of Dale's hard edges. His eyes went from his father to me and back again, calculating and paranoid. Well? Aaron demanded. What's this about? I was ensuring your bride-to-be understands her duties. Dale's voice was ice. She seemed uncertain about the wedding date being moved up. Aaron's gaze locked on me, and I saw the cruelty there, the barely leashed violence of someone who hurts others because he himself is afraid. Is that true? My mouth went dry. I was just. Answer me. His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist hard enough to bruise. Dale moved so fast I barely saw it. One moment Aaron was holding me, the next he was slammed against the wall, his father's forearm across his throat. You will never, Dale said softly, lay hands on her in anger again. Do you understand me? Aaron's face was turning purple. She's mine. She's under my protection as a member of this family. The pressure increased. And I don't tolerate those who abuse the weak. Even if they're my son. He released Aaron, who collapsed to the floor, gasping. Dale didn't even look at him. Layla, you're dismissed. Aaron and I need to have a conversation about proper behavior. I didn't need to be told twice. I fled the room, Aaron's enraged cursing following me down the hallway. But as I ran, one thought echoed through my mind. The Sovereign of Shadows had just revealed his weakness. And his weakness was me. Chapter 6, Shadows and Secrets. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Dale's hand on Aaron's throat, heard the cold promise in his voice. Protection. He'd claimed me under his protection, and in the wolf hierarchy, that meant something. It meant Aaron couldn't hurt me without consequences. It also meant everyone would wonder why. Mother found me at dawn, sitting at the kitchen table with cold tea and dark circles under my eyes. Aaron's guards came by last night, she said quietly, settling across from me. Asking questions about your meeting with the Alpha King. My stomach dropped. What did you tell them? The truth, that I don't know what was discussed. But Layla. She reached across the table, gripping my hand. Whatever happened in that room, the entire pack is talking about it. They say Dale nearly killed his own son. They say he looked at you like. Like what? She hesitated. Like you were his. The mate bond pulsed in my chest, warm and insistent. Mother, I need to tell you something. About that night. About the baby's father. I told her everything. The festival, the stranger, the recognition in Dale's eyes. The prophecy, the fake illness, the terrible political web I'd stumbled into. With every word, her face grew paler. When I finished, she sat back, looking older than I'd ever seen her. "Oh, Layla. Oh, my darling girl." Tears streaked her cheeks. "You're at the center of a game you don't understand, with players who would sacrifice you without hesitation." "I know. Do you?" Her voice turned sharp. Dale Thornridge didn't become the sovereign of shadows by being merciful. He earned that title with blood and calculated brutality. If he's protecting you, it's because you serve a purpose. The moment you stop being useful, he won't hurt me. The mate bond. The mate bond makes him possessive, not kind. There's a difference. She stood, pacing. And Aaron. Aaron is weak, yes, but weak men are often the most dangerous. He'll see you as a threat now, evidence of his father's favor towards someone other than him. A knock at the door interrupted us. Mother and I exchanged glances. "I'll get it," she said. But when she opened the door, no one was there. Just a letter, sealed with dark blue wax, the Thornridge family crest. Mother handed it to me with shaking hands. Inside, in bold, elegant script. "Layla. Come to the North Garden at noon. Alone. Tell no one. Trust nothing Aaron says. Trust no one except yourself. And whatever you do, don't eat or drink anything he offers you. D." The warning in that last line made my blood run cold. Chapter 7, The North Garden. The North Garden was overgrown, wild, deliberately maintained in a state of barely controlled chaos. It was the oldest part of the pack house grounds, dating back centuries, and most wolves avoided it. Too many shadows. Too many places for threats to hide. Perfect for a secret meeting. I found Dale near the center, examining a twisted oak tree that had to be 200 years old. He'd ditched his formal alpha attire for simple dark clothes that made him blend into the shadows. When he heard me approach, he didn't turn around. "You came," he said. "Did you think I wouldn't? I thought you'd have more self-preservation." He finally faced me, and in the dappled sunlight, he looked younger. More human. "After yesterday, Aaron will be watching you closely." "What did you say to him?" "After I left?" Dale's smile was cold. I reminded him of certain facts. That his position depends entirely on my goodwill. That he exists at my sufferance. That if he ever touches you again, I'll remove his hands. Despite everything, warmth bloomed in my chest. "You can't threaten him every time he..." "Yes, I can." He stepped closer. "And I will. Because you're carrying my air, and that makes you invaluable." The clinical tone hurt more than it should. "Is that all I am? A vessel for your child?" Something flickered in his eyes. "No. But it's safer for both of us if I pretend that's all you are." "I don't understand." "The mate bond is growing stronger." His voice dropped. "Every moment we spend together, every conversation, every touch, it deepens the connection. Soon, it will be impossible for anyone with sense to miss. The way I look at you. The way my wolf reacts to your presence." As if to prove his point, he reached out and tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear, his fingers lingering against my cheek. The touch sent electricity through me, and I saw his pupils dilate in response. He pulled back sharply. "This is what I mean. I can't control it. And if I can't control it, I can't protect you properly. So what do we do?" You marry Aaron in 2 weeks. You play the perfect bride. And I. He turned away. I find whoever's trying to kill me before they figure out you're my weakness. And after? If you catch them? If you survive? There is no after, Layla. His voice was harsh. Even if I wanted to reject the throne and claim you publicly, which would start a civil war, there's something you don't know. Something that makes this entire situation impossible. My wolf whined in distress. What? He was quiet for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, do you know anything about mate bond curses? Curses? The word sent chills down my spine. You mean like dark magic? I mean like ancient, blood-level magic that can't be broken except through death. He turned back to me, and his expression was bleak. 300 years ago, the first sovereign of shadows made a deal with a witch. Power, strength, the ability to unite the packs under one rule, in exchange for a curse on his bloodline. What kind of curse? Every true mate of a Thornridge male dies. The words were flat, emotionless. Usually within a year of the bond forming. Sometimes in childbirth. Sometimes in accidents. Sometimes they just stop breathing in their sleep. But they always die. Horror washed over me in waves. That's why I never bonded with Catherine, even though we were married for 20 years. I thought if I never completed the mate bond, if I just resisted, she'd be safe. His jaw clenched. Then I found out about her affair, and I realized she was never my true mate at all. She was safe because we weren't bonded. But I am. Your true mate. Yes. The word was barely a whisper. And that child you're carrying? If the curse follows the pattern, it will kill you during the birth. Or shortly after. The world spun. I grabbed the tree for support. You knew this. When you told me to marry Aaron, to pretend the child was his, you knew I was going to die. I know there's a chance. He moved toward me but stopped himself. But if we never complete the mate bond, if I can keep enough emotional distance, maybe the curse won't fully activate. Maybe you'll survive. Maybe isn't good enough. It's all I have. His control cracked, raw pain bleeding through. Do you think I want this? Do you think I want to know that the one person fate chose for me is doomed because of my bloodline? I've been searching for a way to break the curse for months, ever since the prophecy started circulating. But every witch, every magic user, every ancient text says the same thing. Death is the only way to break a blood curse. I'd heard Mother say it 100 times. Death of the one who cast it, or death of the cursed line itself. The witch who cursed my ancestor is long dead. Which means the only way to save you is for me to die. His laugh was bitter. Ironic, isn't it? I'm pretending to die to catch a killer, while actually needing to die to save you. My mind was reeling, trying to process too much information at once. The curse, the prophecy, the impossible situation we were trapped in. Then I remembered something Dale had said earlier. You said the prophecy mentioned a child that would save or destroy the pack. I looked up at him. What if our child is meant to break the curse? Dale had clearly thought of this. Or complete it. Save or destroy could mean anything. But it's a chance. It's more than a maybe. I pushed off the tree, facing him fully. We can't just give up. We can't just accept that I'm going to die because some witch 3 centuries ago was petty. Petty? Despite everything, he almost smiled. She cursed an entire bloodline because the first sovereign killed her daughter. I'd call that justified. Well, you're not him. And I'm not going to die meekly just because magic says I should. For a moment, something like hope flickered in his storm-gray eyes. Then it died, replaced by cold calculation. Someone's coming, he said suddenly, his alpha senses picking up what mine couldn't. Go. Now. Through the east gate. But. Go. He pushed me gently but firmly toward the gate. And Layla? Trust no one. Not even me. Not completely. I ran, his words echoing in my mind. Behind me, I heard Aaron's voice, slurred and angry. Father. I know you're here. We need to talk about the Omega. I didn't stay to hear Dale's response. But as I slipped through the east gate, I caught sight of something that made my blood run cold. Aaron wasn't alone. Standing behind him, half hidden in the shadows, was a figure in a hooded cloak. They turned slightly, and I caught a glimpse of their face. My best friend, Sarah. And she was smiling. Chapter 8, Betrayal's Face. Sarah had been my best friend since childhood. We'd grown up together, daughters of the village. Her father was a blacksmith, mine a healer. We'd shared everything, secrets, dreams, fears. When I'd been chosen to marry Aaron, she'd been the first person I'd told. She'd held me while I cried, assuring me it would be okay. She'd also been at the festival 3 weeks ago. She'd been the one to encourage me to have just one drink to relax. To talk to strangers. To live a little. I burst through the door of our cottage, startling Mother from her herb grinding. Where's my festival dress? I demanded. The blue one I wore that night? Mother blinked. In your room, I think. Why? I tore through my small bedroom, finding the dress crumpled in the back of my wardrobe. I'd shoved it there the morning after, wanting to forget the entire night. Now I examined it carefully, holding it up to the light. There, near the neckline. A faint stain, barely visible. I brought it to my nose and inhaled. Nightshade and moonflower. A combination Mother used for sleep tonics. But mixed in a certain way, with the right catalysts. Memory suppression, Mother said from the doorway, her face grave. She'd followed me. That's a memory potion. Whoever wore that dress wouldn't remember the night clearly. Everything would be hazy, dreamlike. Sarah. The name came out like poison. She gave me the dress. Said she'd borrowed it from her cousin, that it would look perfect on me. Mother's expression darkened. Sarah's been asking questions lately. About you. About the pregnancy. I thought she was just being concerned, but she knew. My hands were shaking. She arranged everything. She drugged me, sent me to that room, made sure I wouldn't remember Dale's face clearly. The pieces clicked together with horrible clarity. She wanted this to happen. Wanted me to get pregnant by the Alpha King. But why? What does she gain? That was the question. Sarah had no political power, no pack standing. She was the blacksmith's daughter, same as I was the healer's. We were both nobody in the grand scheme of things. Unless she was working for someone else. I thought of the cloaked figure with Aaron, remembered Sarah's smile. That wasn't the smile of my childhood friend. That was the smile of someone who'd been playing a role all along. I need to confront her, I said. Absolutely not. Mother grabbed my arm. Layla, if she's involved in whatever plot this is, approaching her could be dangerous. You need to tell Dale. And say what? That my best friend might be a traitor based on a stained dress and a glimpse in the shadows? I pulled free. I need proof. Real proof. Then we get help. A crash from the front room cut her off. We rushed out to find our front door hanging open, the lock shattered. Standing in the doorway was Sarah herself, and she wasn't alone. 2 large wolves flanked her, not pack guards, but rogues from the scarred look of them. Hired muscle. "Hello, Lay," Sarah said, her voice carrying a lilt I'd never heard before. Foreign. Cultivated. Nothing like the village girl accent she'd always used. "We need to talk." Mother stepped in front of me protectively. "Get out of our home." "Or what? You'll throw herbs at me?" Sarah laughed, and it was a cruel sound. "Please, Mara. We both know you're no fighter. Neither is your precious daughter." Her eyes fixed on me, cold and calculating. "Though she's certainly becoming interesting, isn't she? Pregnant by the Alpha King. Mated to him. Carrying the child of prophecy. I don't know what you're." "Don't." Sarah held up a hand. "I've been watching you for 2 years, Layla. 2 years of playing the loyal friend, the confidant, the supporter. Do you know how exhausting it is to pretend to care about your pathetic problems?" The words stung more than they should have. "Why?" "Because the Dark Forest Pack pays very well for information." She examined her nails casually. "And because I was promised a position of power when they finally take down the Sovereign of Shadows and claim his territory." The Dark Forest Pack. The most vicious pack in the Northern Territories, banned from the kingdom decades ago for practicing blood magic and ritual sacrifice. They'd been trying to infiltrate Dale's lands for years. "You're working for them," I said flatly. "You arranged that night. You made sure I'd meet Dale, get pregnant. And cause maximum chaos, yes." Sarah smiled. "The plan was beautiful, really. Get the Alpha King's true mate pregnant, make sure she's betrothed to his son, then sit back and watch the family tear itself apart. Civil war, political collapse, everything we needed to move in and take over." "But it's not working," Mother said quietly, piecing it together. "Dale is protecting her. The pack is stable. Your plan failed." Sarah's smile vanished. "Which is why I'm here. My employers are disappointed. They want me to correct the situation." One of the rogues moved forward, and I saw the blade in his hand. "You're going to kill us," I said, surprised by how calm my voice sounded. "Not kill." "Not exactly." Sarah tilted her head. "See, the prophecy says the child will save or destroy the pack. My employers want to ensure it's the destroy. Which means we need you alive long enough to give birth, but compliant. Controlled." She pulled out a vial filled with dark liquid. "This is a binding potion. It will ensure your loyalty to us, make you forget your bond with Dale, make you believe whatever we tell you to believe. You'll carry the child to term, you'll marry Aaron as planned, and when the time comes, you'll do exactly what we need you to do. Which is kill the Alpha King, of course." Sarah's grin was feral. "With his own mate's hand. Poetic, don't you think?" Mother lunged for her, but the rogue was faster. He grabbed her, knife to her throat. "Don't hurt her." I stepped forward, hands raised. "Please. I'll cooperate. Just don't hurt my mother." "Layla, no. I mean it." I looked at Sarah, at the girl I'd once called sister. "I'll drink your potion." I'll do whatever you want. Just let her go. Sarah studied me for a long moment. You know what? I believe you. You always were too soft, too self-sacrificing. She gestured to the rogue holding Mother. Let her go. Sarah. Let her go. Layla won't fight. Will you, Lay? I shook my head, even as my mind raced. The binding potion would take effect in seconds once I drank it. I'd be lost, turned into a weapon against the man my soul recognized as its other half. But if I didn't drink it, they'd kill Mother. Maybe kill us both. Unless... The window behind Sarah exploded inward. Dale crashed through in full wolf form, massive and black as midnight, with eyes that glowed silver in the dim light. He was on the first rogue before anyone could react, teeth closing around the man's throat. The man didn't even have time to scream. The second rogue shifted, lunging for Dale, but Dale was faster, stronger, his alpha power radiating through the small cottage like a physical force. Within seconds, both rogues were dead. Sarah stood frozen, the vial trembling in her hand. Dale shifted back to human form, standing naked and covered in blood, looking every inch the sovereign of shadows. When he spoke, his voice promised death. Run, little spy. Run back to your dark forest masters and tell them what happens to those who threaten what's mine. Sarah didn't need to be told twice. She bolted through the broken door. Dale let her go, his eyes fixed on me. Are you hurt? I shook my head, unable to speak. He crossed to me in 2 strides, his hands framing my face, checking for injuries with a gentleness that contradicted the violence he'd just unleashed. Did she give you anything? Did you drink? No. You came in time. My voice cracked. How did you know? I've had someone watching your house since yesterday. When they reported rogues approaching. His jaw clenched. I should have killed her. Should have ended it. You let her go so she'd lead you to whoever's behind this, Mother said shakily. She'd collapsed into a chair, looking pale but alive. You're going to follow her. Already being done. Dale's attention didn't leave me. Layla, pack a bag. You and your mother are moving to the pack house. Under my personal protection. But Aaron. I don't care about Aaron's feelings. His voice was steel. Your friend just tried to dose you with a binding potion to turn you into an assassin. The Dark Forest Pack knows about the pregnancy, about the mate bond, about everything. You're not safe here. He was right, but, if we move into the pack house, people will talk. They'll wonder why you're protecting me so intensely. Let them wonder. He finally released me, stepping back. You're family now. Or close enough. That's the story we'll tell. Mother stood, moving closer. Alpha King, there's something you should know about that binding potion. The fact that they brought it. What about it? Binding potions only work on those with magical bloodlines. On regular wolves, they're just poison. Mother's voice was grave. Which means they knew Layla has magic in her heritage. Magic she doesn't know about. Dale and I both stared at her. What are you talking about? I demanded. I'm not magical. I can't even shift properly. Your father wasn't just any wolf, Layla. Mother's eyes were sad. I never told you because it would have put you in danger. But your father was descended from the moon goddess's own priestesses. You carry divine blood. Dormant, yes, but it's there. The world tilted again. Divine blood. Magical heritage. Nothing made sense anymore. Dale's expression had gone carefully blank. How dormant? I don't know. It's never manifested, never shown itself. But clearly, someone knows about it. Someone's been tracking her bloodline. The prophecy, Dale said quietly. The child that will save or destroy the pack. If Layla carries divine blood, and I carry the curse of the sovereign line, then our child will be something unprecedented, Mother finished. Something powerful enough to break curses. Or powerful enough to bring down kingdoms. Dale looked at me, and I saw fear in his eyes for the first time. Not fear of enemies, or death, or failure. Fear of what we'd created together. Get packed, he said roughly. We're leaving in 10 minutes. And from now on, Layla, you don't go anywhere without guards. You don't talk to anyone I haven't vetted. You don't trust anyone. Not even you? I asked, remembering his own warning from earlier. His smile was bitter. Especially not me. Because every instinct I have is screaming at me to lock you away somewhere safe and never let you out of my sight. And that kind of possessiveness gets people killed. But as he turned to leave, I caught his hand. Dale. I waited until he looked at me. Thank you. For coming. For saving us. Something softened in his expression. Always. Whether I should or not, whether it's smart or not, I'll always come for you. Then he was gone, leaving me to pack my life into bags and prepare for whatever came next. In the distance, I heard a howl, Aaron, raging at something. Or someone. The game was accelerating. And I was running out of time to figure out whose side everyone was really on. Chapter 9, The Pack House. The room Dale assigned us was in the East Wing, luxurious beyond anything I'd ever experienced, with soft carpets, a massive bed, and windows overlooking the forest. It was also directly across from his own chambers. Subtle, Mother murmured as guards deposited our meager belongings. He's not trying to be subtle. I sank onto the bed, exhaustion crashing over me. He's making a statement. That we're under his personal protection. Which will enrage Aaron. As if summoned by the mention of his name, Aaron's voice echoed down the hallway. Where is she? Where is the Omega? Mother and I exchanged glances. I stood, smoothing my dress, preparing for the confrontation. But when Aaron burst through the door, guards behind him looking apologetic and helpless, it was Dale who blocked his path, appearing from his own chambers with supernatural speed. You're disturbing my guests, Dale said mildly. Guests? Aaron's face was flushed with rage and something else, fear, perhaps. She's my betrothed. She belongs in my chambers, under my supervision. She belongs nowhere near you when you're in this state. Dale's voice carried that edge of command that made even alphas want to submit. You're drunk, you're irrational, and you're making a scene. Go sleep it off. You're protecting her. Everyone sees it. Aaron's voice rose to a near shriek. You look at her like she's yours. Like I'm nothing. Like I'm not even your son. The hallway went silent. Dale's expression didn't change, but something cold and dangerous entered his eyes. What did you say? Aaron seemed to realize he'd gone too far, but pride and alcohol pushed him forward. I know. I've always known. That I'm not really a Thornridge. That you just tolerated me because of Mother. That you've been waiting for an excuse to cast me aside. And yet I named you my heir. Raised you. Gave you everything. Everything but respect. Aaron lunged forward, but the guards caught him. You've never looked at me the way you look at her. Never protected me the way you protect that Omega whore. Dale moved so fast I barely saw it. His hand closed around Aaron's throat, lifting him off his feet despite the guard's attempts to intervene. You will never, Dale said softly, speak of her that way again. You will never enter her chambers without permission. You will never threaten her, touch her in anger, or attempt to exert any authority over her. Am I clear? Aaron choked, clawing at Dale's hand. I said, am I clear? Why yes, Aaron gasped. Dale released him. Aaron collapsed to the floor, coughing. The wedding is postponed, Dale announced. Indefinitely. Until you prove you can control yourself and treat your betrothed with basic dignity. You can't, Aaron's protest died as Dale's gaze fixed on him. I can. I'm the Alpha King. And you exist at my pleasure. Dale turned to the guards. Escort him to his chambers. He's not to leave until he's sober and can behave like a rational adult. As they dragged Aaron away, his eyes found mine. The hatred there was pure and venomous. This isn't over, he mouthed. When they were gone, Dale turned to me. I apologize for his behavior. You postponed the wedding. I couldn't quite process it. But you said. I said many things. But I won't send you to marry a man who's clearly unstable and dangerous. He ran a hand through his hair, suddenly looking tired. I'll find another solution. Another way to secure the political alliances without sacrificing you to him. The pack will question this, Mother said quietly. They'll wonder why you care so much about one Omega. Then let them wonder. Dale's jaw set stubbornly. I've spent 30 years doing what was politically expedient. Maybe it's time I did what was right. Before I could respond, a guard appeared, breathing hard from running. Alpha King. There's been an incident. You need to come immediately. What kind of incident? A body, sir. In the North Garden. The guard's face was pale. It's one of the scouts you sent to follow the traitor. And there's a message. Dale's expression went cold. Show me. He left without another word, but not before meeting my eyes. Stay here. Stay safe. I lasted approximately 5 minutes before following. The North Garden was chaos, guards everywhere, the smell of blood thick in the air. I pushed through the crowd until I saw it. The scout's body was arranged carefully, ritualistically. His throat had been cut, his blood used to paint symbols on the ground around him. Ancient symbols. Dark magic. And carved into his chest, still bleeding, return what was stolen or more will die. Dale stood over the body, his face granite. When he sensed me behind him, he didn't turn. I told you to stay in your room. What was stolen? I asked, ignoring his tone. I don't know. But something in his voice suggested he had suspicions. One of the older guards, a grizzled beta named Marcus, knelt by the symbols. These are binding marks. Dark forest pack magic. They're trying to weaken the territorial wards. Why? Another guard asked. So they can attack without warning. Marcus stood, his expression grim. Alpha King, this is a declaration of war. They're coming for the pack. Let them come. Dale's voice was ice. We'll be ready. But I was staring at the symbols, at the way they curved and intersected. Something about them was familiar. Like I'd seen them before, in dreams I couldn't quite remember. My hand moved unconsciously to my stomach, and I felt it, a pulse of warmth, of power, responding to the magic in the symbols. The child. The child was reacting to the dark magic. Layla? Dale was suddenly beside me, his hand on my elbow. What's wrong? The symbols, I whispered. I know them. I don't know how, but I know them. Everyone turned to stare at me. That's impossible, Marcus said. These are ancient dark forest marks. Unless you've studied blood magic. She hasn't. Mother pushed through the crowd, her face white with understanding. But her father's bloodline might have. The moon goddess's priestesses were taught all forms of magic, including the dark arts. So they could counter them. Then she can tell us what the symbols mean, Dale said urgently. Layla, look at them. Tell me what you see. I forced myself to focus, to let the strange knowledge bubbling up from somewhere deep inside guide me. It's not just a weakening spell. It's a calling. They're not trying to break the wards. They're trying to summon something through them. Summon what? The answer came to me with horrible clarity. The original witch. The one who cursed your bloodline 300 years ago. Silence crashed over the garden. That's impossible, someone whispered. She's dead. Is she? I looked at Dale. Or did she just bind herself to the curse? Waiting for the right moment, the right conditions, to return? Dale's face had gone pale. The prophecy. A child that will save or destroy the pack. What if it's not about the child itself, but about what the child's birth will trigger? The breaking of the curse, Mother breathed. Or the completion of it. If the witch returns when the child is born, Marcus said slowly, and if she's as powerful as the legends say. She could finish what she started, Dale finished. Destroy not just my bloodline, but the entire pack. Everyone I'm sworn to protect. I felt the weight of it settle on my shoulders, the knowledge that my pregnancy, my child, might be the key to everyone's destruction. There has to be a way to stop it, I said. To break the curse before the child is born. There is. Dale's voice was hollow. I die. The cursed bloodline ends, the witch has no anchor to return to. No. The word burst from me before I could stop it. There has to be another way. Name it. His eyes met mine, and I saw resignation there. Because I've been searching for months, and every answer leads back to the same conclusion. Death breaks the curse. My death. Or yours. What about the child? If you die in childbirth, as the curse intends, the child might survive. Might break the curse by being the last of the bloodline. Or might inherit it and pass it to their children, continuing the cycle. He looked away. There are no good options, Layla. Only less terrible ones. I stepped closer to him, close enough that the guards probably noticed, that it would definitely feed the rumors. Then we find a fourth option. We find a way to bring the witch back and kill her for good. Destroy the curse at its source. That's suicide. She's had 3 centuries to grow stronger. Maybe. Or maybe she's been dormant, weakened, waiting. I held his gaze. You told me you're not dying. That you faked it to draw out your enemies. Well, here they are. The Dark Forest Pack, working to bring back the witch who cursed your bloodline. Maybe they're connected. Maybe this has always been about more than just pack politics. Dale stared at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, something like hope flickered in his eyes. You're suggesting we let them complete the summoning. Let the witch return. Then kill her while she's still weak from resurrection. It's insane, Marcus protested. It's brilliant, Dale countered. He looked at me with something approaching awe. You're willing to risk everything, yourself, the child, the pack, on one gamble. Better than accepting death as inevitable. I straightened my spine. I'm the healer's daughter. I'm an Omega. I'm nobody important. But I'm also your mate, I'm carrying your child, and apparently I have divine blood from the moon goddess's own line. If anyone's going to end this curse, it should be me. You're not nobody, Dale said quietly. You're everything. Don't you understand that yet? The moment stretched between us, heavy with meaning. Then Aaron's voice shattered it, slurred and venomous from somewhere in the crowd. How touching. The Alpha King and his Omega whore, planning treason together. Dale's guards moved immediately, but Aaron was already stumbling forward, a wine bottle in one hand. You think I don't see it? Aaron laughed bitterly. Everyone sees it. The way you look at her. Protect her. The way she carries your scent even though she's supposed to be mine. Aaron, Dale's voice carried a warning. She's pregnant. Aaron shouted. I can smell it on her. And unless you bedded her in the last 3 weeks, that child isn't mine. So whose is it, father? Every eye in the garden turned to me. Dale's hand found mine, squeezed once. A silent question, do we lie? Do we try to hide it? I looked at Aaron, at the guards, at the pack members who'd gathered to see the dead scout and were now witnessing something far more dramatic. And I made a choice. The child is Dale's, I said clearly. Your father's. Conceived before I knew who he was, before any of us understood what it meant. And yes, we're true mates. The mate bond has claimed us both. Chaos erupted.
If alpha intensity, soulmate sparks, and thrilling wolf world secrets are your jam, subscribe now so you don't miss it. Fresh episodes drop every day, and the twists will have you hooked from the first howl.